Shalom, call halal Yahweh Bashan Shai Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity. Continue on. This is your brother Malcolm up. They cut the video off. You already know what happened. Those movies continue in part two. Those movies, Caligula. All right. So Caligula was all about rape, murders, all matters of perverted ways of sex. Okay. So here we go. Let's continue to let it play.
Finances were also in a precarious state following a year of non-stop military campaigning, and so the king was forced to turn to his companions and nobles for assistance. The propagandized account goes that Alexander doled out sections of the Macedonian crown lands until the finances of each companion were provided for. One of them, Perdiccas, is said to have asked the king, "But what have you left for yourself?" Alexander replied, "My hopes." What the king was doing here, though, as Peter Green bluntly points out, was borrowing money. With the assembly thus concluded and all matters prepared, Alexander, his companions, and the invasion army advanced through Macedonia and Thrace via the route used by Xerxes I in 480 BC.
So they were going throughout Greece, destroying all those brown-complected people, the same ones that we showed in part one of the video. All right, that was in this book, and it shows you how Greece went from let's see if I can turn the light out. How Greece went from being brown, dark to pale. All right, that's basically what that represents. Okay.
Leaving Antipater as regent at home. 20 days and over 300 miles later, the Macedonians arrived in the Chersonese and prepared to cross the Hellespont. However, while Parmenion did the donkey work and used 160 Hellenic League triremes to conduct a complex but unopposed crossing from Sestos to Abydos, Alexander went south and crossed at Elaeus with a small force. According to one account, just as the king's ship was about to make landfall in Asia, Alexander, clad in full armor, launched a spear into the sand and thereby claimed the eastern continent as Spear One land, making sacrifices to the gods and conducting religious ceremonies the whole way.
And those headdresses that you were wearing are from literally the units of Grecians that was joined unto him that have been conquered. All right. What's the scripture said? He heapeth unto him all nations. I think that's in Habakkuk, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, this is Habakkuk 2 and 5, and I started 4. It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine," philosophy. "He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto himself all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people." And that's basically what Esau does. Once he gets dominion over you, he actually brings you into his army, into his armed forces, into his servitude. All right. And those headdresses that you see, as you saw when you looked at the dark images of the actual Grecians, they wore those headdresses. So, and it even tells you in the Flavius Josephus that Alexander cleaved onto that way of life and basically became a Greek and took it over. And that's basically what Esau Edom does. They assimilate to other people's culture and claim it to be their own. They claim to be the Greeks. They claim to be Australians. They claim to be Americans. They claim to be Jews. They claim to be Spartans. They claim to be Rome. Well, they actually were the Romans, but But a lot of the customs that came along that were the real people who lived in those lands. All right. So Esau Edom is not an original people at all. They don't really have a lot of customs of their own. They assimilate to other people's customs and take them over. That's what they do, and they still do to this day. I mean, look at music. They took over. They took over rock and roll. They took over blues. They took over jazz. They took over. Now they've basically taken over hip hop and turned it into pop.
The king made a sojourn to the mythical city of Troy. Alexander then went north with his entourage.
Mythical city of Troy, he said.
Which included his closest companion, Hephaestion, and united with the main muster under Parmenian supervision on a plain near the town of Arispe. As his invasion of the Achaemenid Empire begins, it's worth going over what kind of army Alexander had at his command in 334 BC.
You can see the different hairdressers. They're different people. All right? They were different people. And then, of course, he's showing them all his pale. They were all melanated for the most part, except for Alexander's men, the Macedonian army. They were Edomite. All right? You can see the difference. But those hairdressers that you see that are prominent in Roman and Grecian, those were the real Greeks, which were brown-skinned people. All right? Those were, as you saw. And today, those people are your Hawaiian, Samoans, etc., etc. Even if you come up to modern-day time, if you look at any of the images of King Kamehameha, one of the last kings of the Hawaiian Samoans, when you look at King Kamehameha, you will see that he wore the ancient Grecian headdress, all right, because that was their culture.
It was undeniably the most tactically and technologically advanced military force of the age. However, unlike such greats as Genghis Khan and his enemy's predecessor Cyrus the Great, Alexander hadn't made his own army, but inherited one developed by his father, Philip II. Waiting for their enterprising king on that broad...
Wait, they're showing this guy. That guy there looks kind of ethnic right there. All right, when you're looking in his face, some of these soldiers, okay? This first soldier here, if you follow the arrow, But let's let them continue.
Plain near Arispe were 12,000 of the best Macedonian heavy infantry, 9,000 sarissa-bearing phalangites, and a further 3,000 elite hypaspists, otherwise known as shield-bearers or guards in the sources.
So there you go. His army was made up of different people, all right? And they just like they showed you in the movie Sparta, when the guy showed up, in the 300, when the guy showed up with all the crowns of conquered, all the skulls and crowns of conquered kings. Okay? So anyway, let's read in First Maccabees, which is the account of when Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. This is why they uphold and love Alexander, because through Alexander, the so-called white man got a grip on the world. And you said Job 9:24 reads, "The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Well, this is the actual action, the time and the place when the world was given into the hands of the so-called white man, who is Esau, Edom, the wicked. All right, so it says, this is First Maccabees 1:1, and it reads, "And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned first in his stead," his race, his people, "over Greece." See, they got dominion over the Greeks. All right. And then they continue to move on. So let's just jump up to verse 7. And it reads, "So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon their heads, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth." So Alexander's 4 generals, all right, that he set up over different parts of the New World, Asia Minor, North Africa. The Ptolemy took over Egypt, the Ptolemy. So that's when all of a sudden you had white Egyptians, all right, and then they started renaming everything. You had Ptolemy, Cassander, Antipater, and Lysimaeus, I believe. Those were his 4 generals. All right. And then evils were multiplied in the earth at that time. Okay. So let me turn the light back on, and we'll close out by showing those images. I turn the light off so that you can see the screen better, and then they cut the video. Once again, we'll close with those images, with that condemning evidence of the relics that were dug up, that are still in existence today, that show you without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, I found what I was looking for in the part 1. It says art in some respects. It's perfect timing too. And I'll just put it to the camera. And it says art in some respects more valuable than the literature and a source of information for anthropological data, because it tells much of the text that do not amount to the text that do not about the amount of pragmatism or the total absence and the extent of, I can't even pronounce that word, and lip perversion and facial proportion. So basically what he's saying is that Edom will, as you can see on the screen, he will make everyone look like white people. He lies. But when the relics, it's just like here in the movie Troy, this is around. So because when this happened, Alexander took over after that, okay? After this battle. So the truth be said, during this battle, there was no white people there. All these people were dark complexion people, and we're going to show you the evidence of it. Here's Memnon again. Here's Agamemnon in art. All right? With his woolly hair and his dark flesh. All right? Images of him with 2 women. All right, black figured neck. It says the Negro Memnon. 2 Amazon scenes, black figured. Anyway, let's go to this one. The most condemning one, but here it is. Soldiers assist the king. A versus scene. Actually, they were being destroyed by a big muscle-bound dude on the other side named Hercules. He was killing the priests. And these were the soldiers coming. These were Greek soldiers coming running to his aid. Right there. Okay. There's another Greek soldier. You can see his woolly hair, his thick lips. And then here's Memnon. Detailed heads of Memnon and Negroes from black figured. So these were your Grecians. And you see the headdress. All right. And the woolly hair. All right. So with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Wa Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala.